Hi there, and welcome back to yet another episode of Book Club. In today's episode, we'll be looking at an inspiring boy and a book which is based on his true life story. And in this book, it's about this amazing young boy who made something which brought a lot of good things to his village and saved his village from a crisis. And this sparked attention all around the world, and hence this boy from Malawi became a very famous person in the end. This book and the title is called The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. So accompanying this amazing book is a movie from Netflix. And you should also go check that out after reading the book. So this book is a New York Times best-selling, and I'll guarantee you should not skip this video because you will want to read this book and watch the film right away. So starting us off today, the author of this book, or shall I say authors of this book, is Brian Miller and William Kamkwamba. So firstly, I'll be talking about Brian Miller. Brian Miller is an American author who has written countless number of books, but gained his widespread recognition for this book, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, which was a New York Times best-selling book, written alongside William Kamkwamba, who is the boy in this story depicting his own life story as a young person growing up in a village in Malawi. So now I'll be telling you about William Kamkwamba. Some people watching this video, if you are, you may not know who William Kamkwamba is, but he deserves the recognition he needs. So I'm going to tell you about him. William Kamkwamba, or pronounced in Malawian, William Kamkwamba. It's a very hard name to pronounce. Is a Malawian inventor and author. So Malawi is a country in Africa. It's a small country, and it's located on the east side of Africa. So he gained his widespread recognition in 2001 in his village, Wimbe, in Malawi, for making his wind turbine using scrapyard parts. So for us, we have trash, right? He used those parts to actually make a windmill. So our trash is his loot to make something. So he used tree parts, bicycle parts, and local scrapyard materials found in the scrapyard that he always visited to make his wind turbine. And I'll be going through the story soon. Alright, so now I'll be giving a synopsis of the book. So firstly, in Malawi, growing up, many people believe that magic is better than science and is considered more superior to science. But young William Kamkwamba wanted to rebel against this. Since young, he was rebelling against this and thought that, honestly, science is the way to save the world and it's not magic. So, though Trywell does not believe in ghost stories, and he's motivating his son, his middle son, William Kamkwamba, to develop his science skills and science experimental skills, he, living in such a community, growing as such, still tells the family ghost stories once in a while and keeps the tradition alive, though he feels personally that science is also the way to go. So now, Trywell falls in love with a woman called Agnes and then goes on to marry her. And with his children, he moves to a town of Wimbe, as said earlier, and continues becoming a farmer. And with alongside Trywell is his wife Agnes and his 3 other children, with the main spotlight being William Kamkwamba in this book. So William Kamkwamba, since a young age, is very curious, very innovative, and is a totally different person from other kids of his age. He is much more intellectual and he wants to find out, and he has a big thirst for knowledge. So when he moved to Wimbe, since young, he started a radio fixing business with his cousin Jeffrey, as he was more fond of electricity and around electrical engineering that time. He was very fond of it since a young age. and then went on to move and create better things, which I'll talk about in the book later. So as his life goes on, William becomes more interested in one occurrence that he saw and in many places in Malawi. So in Malawi, the people are very innovative, and they, normal people like us, when we put our, our battery inside our light to cycle, you just need to press a button to light up. But the good thing about Malawi people is that they added this gizmo to the cycle, that when you bicycle, that when you bicycle and cycle, the light bulb shines. And that's when William Kamkwamba started getting interested in this occurrence. And this is part of the clip here, which I'll show to let you in the audience picture what it was. So in this short clip that I showed, it's about that small little gizmo called the dynamo. So going on, he's very interested to find out how it lights up. But the sad thing is that he stopped from his experiments because the government of Malawi is taking all the corn rations from the farmers to pay the economical debt. And hence already, since that the farmers did not have enough food to sustain due to the dry season, Trywell, his father, is very angry and is not afraid to let his family know about it. By the way, he lets out his anger. So putting aside all his scientific inquiry and how he goes on to experiment, he has to put all of those aside and help his family plow the land to make more crops so that they can sustain. Because the government is taking too much of the rations and Malawi might starve. So they had to put in more effort to plowing the land to get more corn to survive. So now, William gets accepted into secondary school and he thought that he could hopefully become a scientist in the future from gathering more information from school. But that did not happen, and that was not the case. Because of the famine, his family could not afford to pay his school fees, so he had to get out of school and dropped out. And during his free time, he worked on his windmill, trying and testing every single day to find out whether it worked, and he wanted to collect more things to make it better and more sustainable. So though he was sort of dropped out from school and he couldn't enter, with the help of his very kind librarian, he went inside the library and studied about the dynamos and how the things work to gain more knowledge as to continue building on his windmill. Many people though, however, thought he was crazy. And many people thought that he was wasting his time and not saving up his energy because there was a big famine in Malawi. But the surprising thing is, he provided water and his windmill worked. He provided water to the village for them to farm and finally saving them from famine. But that was not the biggest thing. He harnessed the wind and he provided electricity to not only his family but to the whole village. And that's when the next big thing happened for this young boy with such a talent. As you can see, he's also climbing his windmill, and I'll also show more clips of the movies as well if you want to picture it, of how many people thought he was crazy, but he ended up proving them wrong. One day, officials and scientists come to visit Wimbe for some investigation. And while they were there at Wimbe in Malawi, they found out the windmill and heard about William Kamkwamba building this himself. So once they heard about this, they spread the news and it spread like wildfire. And they spread news about William Kamkwamba's impressive feat of building a windmill out of nothing, which is basically just all piles of trash, right, to us. But to him, it was something that he made, and he found it as loot. So he used anything that he could find to make this impressive machine that actually worked. And hence, this is what led to this boy being famous after that and spreading worldwide and commonly he is known now as the boy who harnessed the wind. And now, I won't be talking a lot about the book. That was my short synopsis of the book. If you'd like to check out more about the book, I'll leave all the links in the description. And if you'd like to know more about William Kamkwamba and Brian Miller, the authors of this book, I'll also leave it in the link in the description below. And I'll also leave all the links to all of William Kamkwamba's work if you'd like to support it or check out what he's doing currently. I'll also leave it down in the description below. And I won't expose too much of the book. And I really think that you should read this book because it's a really good book, and it's very inspiring to many people around the world that even the smallest things, you should use that to a greater use. And that's one of the good things about this that I really love. Now lastly, I'll be talking about my takeaways from this book. Though this book has many takeaways, I'll be talking about my top 3 takeaways from this book. So my first takeaway is that stay curious and never stop learning. If, firstly, William was not curious at all, he would have never saved his village from this crisis, and he would never provided electricity. If he had never been curious, he would have never known about this dynamo and how these work. It's also really helpful in the end, him revolutionizing his village and helping every single one out. My second takeaway is that we should share our vision and passion with other people. See how William shared his vision and passion with his friends. And again, as I said earlier, all his friends were also encouraged by this sort of sharing of knowledge and passion that they ganged up against his father to persuade him to give the bicycle to William to help fix the windmill, in which the bicycle was a necessary and essential part of the windmill, as you can see here from the book and here from the picture. And now my last and final takeaway is that we should be leaders and we should be practicing leadership and persuasiveness. If William was not a leader, and how would he have gathered everyone together and persuaded them? And not he had to persuade himself, his father, his village people from thinking that he was not crazy. And he was really passionate, and he was a good leader in how he carried out all the assignment of people's roles and everything. And that's what makes him a really good leader. And the persuasiveness. He would have never persuaded Mr. Kachigunda to give him the dynamo, or his father, Trywell, to give him his bicycle, which last time cost a lot in Malawi. And that's my 3 and final takeaways from this book, which I hope you'll read, and again, link in the description below. Now, I'll be talking about one surprising fact from this book or the author that I'd like to share with you guys about. So now, in this book and his real life story, he made this whole windmill out of trash, guys. Trash. And many people nowadays, they need big equipment, or else they wouldn't try. But this boy, he persisted throughout and for a lot of time, and he had to convince so many people from thinking that he was crazy. But he, in the end, with little materials and equipment, made this amazing machine just out of nothing. And that's what I like really about this book. And one surprising thing was that he didn't need these big equipment. He built it with rubbish. All these metal scrapes and trees, and that he tied up with his bicycle and some ropes. That's it he needs. So simplistic, but look at how much he benefited the whole community. And that's my surprising fact about this book, which is really pinpointing out that you do not need big things to make big things or big changes. Just that small little things could make a really big change in your life or other people's lives. And that's what stands out from this book. Alright, as I established earlier, this book also has a really good accompanying movie, which has been nominated for several awards and has won some awards before. So now we'll be looking at something that is different from the movie and the book, which I can pinpoint so that you could choose which one to watch or read. So for in the book, there is more detailed ending. He just did not just save the the community from a crisis of the famine by providing them water. He provided them electricity to not just his family but to the whole community. And that's what stands out in this book. But as you can see here from the clip that I'm showing here, the ending was that the water came and he survived. He helped the community dig up all those trenches and survive and grow the crops because it was the dry season and he provided them water. So these two have different endings, but it's the same thing in the middle. And I really recommend you reading the book, which is more detailed, before watching the award-winning movie after that, which you can find on Netflix. And I'll leave all the links in the description below. And if you like to check out this movie as well, go to Netflix and search The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, and you can find the movie there as well. And with that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching this video as well. And I'm really open to feedback, so please do provide feedback in the link and in the comment section below. And comment down below what books have you been reading this holiday, or what books or what movies have you watched which have books written about them as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please slap that like button. And if you really enjoy watching my videos and enjoy reading books and also watching movies and like analyzing books a lot or finding out what's the true meaning of books, please consider subscribing and hitting that subscribe button with the bell notifications on as well. And thank you so much for your kind comments and feedback that you have given, because it helps me and the channel grow a lot. With that, see you another day for another episode.